Hi guys, in today's video I'm going to show you what I recently picked up in the Sephora sale. I got these items from Sephora in the USA. I was recently there, and when I first got to the States I was in LA for 3 nights, and one of those days went to Beverly Hills with Liz from Chicago Law Luxury Makeup, and also met up with another friend, Lauren. And at Beverly Hills we went to the Sephora store, and it was actually nice and quiet. A few days later I went to a Sephora, and that was in Texas, and it was crazy. I've never seen anything like it. I think because it was getting towards the end of the sale, and by then it had opened up to everyone, but it was crazy. I'd never seen a queue like that before in a Sephora store. Well, certainly not here in New Zealand anyway. Now, we do have Sephora here in New Zealand, but we don't have all the items that you guys have over there in the United States, because we also have another store called Mecca, and that's in Australia and New Zealand. So there are a couple of items here that I can get at Mecca, but I can't get at Sephora. Now, the Sephoras don't match, but because Liz was with me, she was able to just put in her number, and then I purchased the items, and I was able to take advantage of the 20% off. So none of these items are any new releases, I don't think, or a couple maybe more newer or were released this year, but they are definitely new to me, and a couple of items that I just wanted to pick up backups of. So first of all, I'm going to start off with cotton pads, and I picked up some Shiseido ones. These are really cheap in the States. We can also get these here in New Zealand at, it's called the Farmers Department Store, and it comes in a cardboard box, and it comes in packs of 60, I think, but in this one there is a huge amount. How many is in this? It's 165 cotton sheets, and like I was saying, it is a little bit cheaper than in New Zealand, especially with that 20% off. So I picked up a pack of these. I love them. These are super soft, and also if you use them to apply acid, some of the cheaper cotton pads, well, I've found, is if you've got like there's a BHA that I use each morning, and you put that on the pad and wipe it on your face. This is with one of the cheaper ones. It can start to break apart, whereas these don't. These are really durable, but they're just super soft. So I'm really happy to have picked up such a huge amount of them. The next thing I picked up was Paulas Choice. Now, I can get hold of Paulas Choice in New Zealand. I actually order it from Australia, but it's not in the Sephora store here or at Mecca either. And I picked up something I haven't tried before. I have tried the Paulas Choice, their vitamin C, that's the booster, the liquid, and I think it is a really beautiful product because I like to use vitamin C every single morning. But this one is in a cream, and it's 25% vitamin C. So I picked up a couple of them. If I like it, I will continue to purchase. So I haven't started using it yet. I've got another vitamin C that I want to get through before I start using these. But I'll let you know some stage in the future how I found them. Paulas Choice have beautiful products, and I have used a lot of them, and all of their products are also fragrance free. So next is a Dr. Dennis Gross item, and this is the Universal Daily Peel. This came with 30 treatments plus 5 bonus treatments. Now, this is one of the products that is for sale at Mecca and not at Sephora here in New Zealand. Now, Mecca also carry a lot more of higher end products, and they hardly ever have a sale. Maybe once at a push, maybe twice a year, and it's certainly not store wide. It's generally on items, I think, really that they're trying to get rid of. Now, I've heard really great things about these pads. I have used these type of pads before. I can't quite remember the brand name of them, and I've found them to be really good. Now, I know they say they can use these daily. I'd probably use this probably a couple of times a week, but I do find these pads really effective. They give your skin, because they've got the acids in them, that beautiful smoothing look, and just give a little bit of life to the skin. My skin isn't too bad, but from the 2 long haul flights that I did on the way over to LA, it was a 10-hour flight, and on the way back I think it was around about 12 hours, and I think that played a little bit of havoc with my skin. It probably dried out a bit. I mean, I have oily skin, so when I say my skin dried out, it's not like someone with dry skin, but not as oily as it was. Of course, it's all back to normal now, but I just found that it was just a little bit drier than normal. So now that I'm back and into my regular skincare routine, the things that I normally use, because when I went overseas I took a whole lot of samples, but I'm back to what I was using in the morning and in the night before I went, and hopefully my skin will just all calm down. I actually, when I went over there, started to get a couple of breakouts, and it wasn't because I touched my skin or anything like that, because when I changed up my skincare routine, gosh, it would be 3.5 years ago now, one of the things I decided to do was not touch, unless I'm putting on makeup or doing skincare, not touch my face at all. And I really suggest that is something that you put your mind to if you can, because it does make a big difference if you don't touch your face. So I know it's not from doing that. I think it was just the whole upset of the long flights, being in that air-conditioned plane, and then the whole jet lag on my system. But it seems to be coming right now. Okay, if I keep rambling on, this video is going to take forever, and I haven't got that many products. Now, this is a sample size, and Lauren recommended this to me, and this is Goldwell, and it's called the 1 Minute Transformation Styling Cream. Now, you only need a tiny bit of this, and what I use this for, it is a really good product. I also use their other one that you put in, it's to stop frizziness. It lasts 3 or 4 washes. You spray it in just before you're about to do a blowout on your hair, and that is really great for my hair in the summer. This is really for those bits where, especially in the warmer months, because now we're heading towards the end of spring here in New Zealand, it's not too hot, it's just really lovely warm weather. And so I've got those little bits that come up, but before I did this video, they were actually up a little bit higher, and I just I'll do it now, and I'll show you what the texture is like. Now, as I was saying, I only use the tiniest amount, sort of like that, and then just rub it between my fingers, and then just very gently just take it over your hair, and it just takes away that frizziness instantly. So this is a really lovely product. They didn't have the full size at Sephora, they just had the sample, but this is going to last a long time because you don't need much product, but this is definitely a repurchase for me. The next product is a Charlotte Tilbury, and I only picked it up because I wanted to see what it was like. You can't get this here in New Zealand. We can get Charlotte Tilbury, that's at Mecca, but not this product. This is the Broad Spectrum SPF 50 Sunscreen, Invisible UV Flawless Primer. She does have big titles for her products. Now, I think I have used this once. I can't remember what I've used it or not. I've still got a bit of jet lag brain. But I want to see what it's like, and I can let you know because it's readily available in the USA, and the majority of my subscribers do live in the United States. The reason that you can't get this here in New Zealand is that we have different sunscreen testings. So although it is an SPF 50 for the United States, it's likely that she would probably need to change the amount, or a sticker would have to go over the front here and on the box. Normally, as a general rule, something that says it's SPF 50 in the United States, in New Zealand, when it's tested, it comes back as more like an SPF 30. But I will use this up. I'm pretty sure I did try it once, and I thought the consistency was really lovely. I'll put a little bit on the back of my hand now, so it just has that click open. So this actually still had the seal. You just unscrew this part here and take the little seal off. So when I tried it on the back of my hand, it must have been in the Sephora store. So I'll just pop a little bit on the back of my hand, and that's what it looks like. It has a beautiful consistency, and on my hand it didn't feel overly greasy. It doesn't seem to leave a cast at all. Does it have a fragrance? It might have a fragrance. If it has, it's not overwhelming. I'm just going to have a look at the back of the packaging now just to see if there's a fragrance. I can't see a fragrance on here. Now this has a really moisturizing feel, and I can see straight away this has glycerin in it, which is super hydrating, and it also has shea butter as well, and that's what gives it that really luxurious feel. So now that it's on my hand, it doesn't feel sticky or tacky in any way. So I'll definitely trial this out over the next couple of weeks, and I'll let you know what I think of it. I'm pretty fussy with my sunscreens, and I have tried many sunscreens. My favorite is the Canmake that I usually pick up from YesStyle or on Amazon. I always have that listed in my description box, but I thought I'll let you know how this is, and I will solely use it as a primer as well. So when I test it, I'll just have this on and won't use one of my normal primers, and let you know how it goes. Next is a recommendation from Lauren, and this is the Rare Beauty. This is the eyeshadow primer I'm wearing today. With this, I find that you do, once you've patted it into your eyelids, just let it sit for a minute or two. I think it is a really lovely primer. It does give a really beautiful base. Whether it's better than the MAC Paint Pot one that I normally use in my videos, I'm not too sure. But those of you that love Rare Beauty, and if you haven't tried this before, I recommend it. It is a really lovely primer. So that is the colour of it. And once I pat that on my eyes, you really can't see that shade at all. I'll just pat it in now. And then once you do, you just don't really see it at all. It is enough maybe to cover a little bit of discoloration, but I do find that it is a really good base for your eyeshadow, and it works really well with my oily lids. Next, I got a Lancome product, and this has been around for many years, and believe it or not, I've never tried it, and it's the eye makeup remover, and that is the one from Lancome, and I have been using this. This is a really lovely product, and if I hold it up you can see it's separated, so it has got oil in it. So before you use it, you need to give it a really good shake. I think that this takes off eye makeup really beautifully. Do I think it takes off eye makeup better than there's a Nivea one that I use, and I've also started using a Bioderma one. This and the Bioderma were recommended by Lauren as well. I don't think it takes off eye makeup any better than the Bioderma. It is a beautiful product. I just don't think it's superior. I thought what might happen, since this is a more high-end product, is once I put it on the cotton pad and hold it on my eye and then sweep it off, all of the makeup would come off without having to hold it on for 20 or 30 seconds, but that's not the case. I saturated the cotton pad with it, popped it on, and after about 5 seconds I went to just take my makeup off, and some did come off, but not as much as I would have hoped from a high-end product. I still have to, once I've saturated the cotton pad, usually I do one eye at a time, and I still have to hold it over for a good 20 to 30 seconds and then gently just bring it down, and then the majority of the makeup comes off. But that also happens when I use the Nivea one that I've used before, and also the Bioderma. But it is a really lovely product. Next is a backup, and it is the Benefit. It is the 24-hour brow setter. I thought I had a backup of this, and I haven't. At the moment, I'm nearly at the end of the Anastasia Beverly Hills. This is the clear brow gel, and this is really good. and so is this one as well. So I'm sure you've seen it before. This is the packaging. It is a great price point. It lasts quite a long time, and I find it just sets my brows really well, and I don't tend to get that crunchy feeling, so I just wanted to grab a backup of that. Now next is a foundation, and it is the Armani one. It is the Luminous Silk. Now I haven't tried this before. I'd heard really great things about it. I picked it up in the shade 4.5. It is even in the store, and you put it on the back of your hand. Sometimes I'm like, is it too light? Is it too dark? But this has actually ended up being the perfect shade for me, and this is what I'm wearing today. Initial application has a light to medium finish. I find that I can build it up, and I get the medium finish that I have now. It's definitely not a full coverage foundation. This works well with my oily skin. I think it gives a beautiful finish. I think it is really flattering on mature skin. It doesn't settle into lines, and you do get this luminosity. It is very, I think that's where the silk part comes from. It feels very, very light. It's not a heavy foundation at all. And I will be using this in future videos as well, probably with my everyday makeup. There is an Armani eyeshadow, a liquid one, that I want to get as well. And then I forgot what shade it is that I wanted, because I've got a couple and I haven't shown them to you yet in a video, and I will at a future date. But there was one shade in particular that I saw on someone and was absolutely beautiful, and then I should have written it down for when I was there, and once I got there I couldn't remember what the shade was. But I think that Selfridges has it, because I don't think we have it. We have Armani here in New Zealand, but we didn't have that shade in the liquid eyeshadow. But I definitely want to pick it up at some stage. But this foundation, if you've ever wondered about it and you have oily skin like I do, I wouldn't hesitate on it. I think it is really beautiful. And although it isn't the middle of summer here and isn't super hot, it's still warmer, getting towards the end of spring, and it lasts really well. And I got another backup of a product, and it's the Westman Atelier. This is the Vital Pressed Skincare Powder. So this is the packaging. This came out, was last year, I think. And I got this in the shade Creme. And the other one I didn't use up, but I had to throw out because I've had it quite a long time now. This powder I only use under my eyes. With my oily skin, it's not really that great as an overall face powder because it has quite a lot of humectants in it. But for under the eyes, it is absolutely perfect. Because it is a moisturizing powder, I use the tiniest amount on my finger, just pat it on just enough to set the concealer, and it sets it down but doesn't dry down. So under your eyes are still really hydrated but still gives that setting effect. And I think this is really lovely. The other powder that I use for under my eyes is a by Terry one. That's really lovely as well. But this is gorgeous. Now this also comes in two other shades. There's one called Bubblegum, and it's pink, and that's for highlighting. And then the other one I think is a translucent. But if you're looking for a really good powder, you've got oily skin, but one for setting under your eyes, then I really recommend the Westman Atelier. It is a fantastic powder. So I'm getting towards the end. The next thing is a mascara. Now I've tried this 3 times. There are a lot of people that love it, and it is the Calor one. It is Come Hell or High Water mascara. Now, as other people have said, this doesn't transfer, it doesn't clump, and it lasts really well. You don't get panda eyes with it, which is really important. You can tend to get that more, especially with oily skin. For those of you that haven't seen, I will show you the wand. It is fairly basic. Now this is a good mascara, but it's probably not one I would purchase again. I would rather go for my Chanel Volume. I love the Charlotte Tilbury, the Pillow Talk, the push-up one. There's also the Laura Geller one that I would buy before this one. The thing is with mascaras, and saying what I like and what I don't like, is that mascara is a very personal thing, and it's really dependent on the person. So all I can say is what I think about it on me. I just don't think it adds anything extra or anything more than I get from those other mascaras that I mentioned. It goes on really well. It depends with mascaras and what you're used to. Are you used to a wet one? Are you used to more of a dry one? Are you used to a mascara that has a bigger brush, a curved brush? So it's really dependent on what you're used to. Now, there are some mascaras when you first buy them, they don't perform that well, but once you get to the second or third go, all of a sudden it's a different mascara and they are amazing. So I've used this, as I said, at least 3 times. It's the same as the first time I used it. It's a good mascara. Is it amazing? I wouldn't put it in the amazing category. But like I said, mascara is very personal. Just because I think it's average doesn't mean that you would. You may think it is amazing. But I'm glad I tried it out, and it was good being able to get it with the 20% off. And last is 2 concealers, and the new Gucci one, which I think I got a little bit light, but it still works under my eyes. And the other one is the Natasha Denona. This is the High Glam Concealer. And even though this one is still in the box, I've used this, I think it's 3 times now. I got this in the shade P3, and this is the one that I am wearing today. And out of the 2, I think I prefer the Natasha Denona. And the reason for that is I think it gives a bit more coverage than the Gucci one. Both are really hydrating, which for me, with mature under eyes, is super important. You don't want your under eyes to look dried out at all. I have wrinkles. I don't want them to be emphasized with drying out. And that's why, as I was talking about before, I also like that Westman Atelier powder and the By Terry ones, the powders that are more moisturizing. So the Gucci is lovely, but as I was saying, it's just, this is super hydrating as well. It is really lovely. So that is the shade I got. Now, if I can see, it might be shade 27. I haven't got the box for this still. And yes, it is 27 neutral that I got. And this sits really well under the eyes. I'll definitely use this up. As I said, I think it has beautiful coverage. It's probably more of a medium coverage. I think the Natasha Denona one gives just that little bit more. So with mature eyes, and what I look for in a concealer is using the least amount of product to get the most coverage. So you're not packing on product under your eyes, because that'll add to emphasizing the wrinkles as well. So even though both are really lovely, at a pinch, at this stage, I used this one while I was in the USA, and I've been using this one since I got home. So I will have to use this again just to make up my mind for sure. But at this stage, at a pinch, it is the Natasha Denona one, probably that I prefer more. But as I said, I will try out the Gucci again. I've worn this Natasha Denona one, I think this is the 3rd day in a row. So next week I'll probably go back to the Gucci and definitely make up my mind. So I think I did tell you that the Natasha Denona was in P3. I think I could go just slightly darker with it. I'll put it next to the Gucci one. Actually, they're a pretty good match. The Natasha Denona one is more peachier than the Gucci one. And that might be why I like this as well. It does more of that correction because I have quite big veins under my eyes. But you can see for the amount I've put on compared to that, this does give more coverage than the Gucci one. But as I said, next week I'll go back to the Gucci just so I can definitely make up my mind. Now with this one, I think I could go just slightly darker, not much, just slightly. It's definitely wearable and it looks really good under the eyes. I just wouldn't mind a shade that matches more of my foundations. But when I get a lighter concealer, and if I don't tend to put it under my eyes, especially if I pick up a darker shade and it's more perfect, what I tend to do is use it through here and through here, because these folds through here, if you add lightness, it makes them so that they're not quite as deep. So I never end up wasting a concealer unless it was a color that was absolutely way off, which I don't tend to do. It's either like a little bit light or a little bit dark. I tend to always pick them up a little bit light. And if I make up my mind that this is definitely the one over the Gucci, then I'll probably will get it in a slightly darker shade and give that a go as well. But this won't be wasted. As I said, there's different parts of the face that I can use it on. So those are all the products that I picked up from the Sephora sale. Did you shop the Sephora sale, and what did you get? And what products do you recommend? And have you tried any of these? And what do you think of them? Let me know in the comments below. Now, I did pick up a few other things when I was in the United States, but I'm going to do that in a separate video. I picked up some Chanel earrings and also some Dior bracelets as well, and a couple of other things, and I just want to do that in a separate video. So that's it for today's video. I would love it if you gave it a like and subscribed, and I will see you next time. Bye.